Hello and welcome to Straight to the Comments, where we read the comment sections of tabloid news articles. Please stay to the end of the video to hear my opinion on this topic, and of course let me know your opinion by leaving a comment. Please like and subscribe.
Cafe boss who left her ex-toy on the backseat of her car while parked outside rival tea room that she blamed for the closure of her business wins appeal against harassment conviction. Kerry Radley, 47, was convicted of harassing the owners of a rival cafe in Norfolk. She left a large purple ex-toy on display in her car outside the Primorosa Cafe. Ms. Radley and Judith Nudd operated rival businesses just 20 yards apart. The CPS decided against opposing Ms. Radley's appeal against her conviction. Kerry Radley, 47, was alleged to have put the toy on display in her Honda CR-V when it was parked next to the Primorosa Cafe in Sal House, Norfolk, in 2018. It followed a long-running feud with owner Judith Nudd that she claimed was partly blamed for the closure of her own cafe 20 yards down the road a year earlier. A court had heard how Mrs. Nudd was left sobbing and shaking when she saw the toy next to a card containing the words F*** and W** on the third anniversary of her tea room opening. Miss Radley admitted leaving her car at the spot, saying it was a protest because she had been receiving abuse from customers of the tea room. But she denied any wrongdoing, saying that the toy was a joke present for a friend and had fallen out of a bag on the back seat without her knowledge. Norwich magistrates heard how tea room customers saw the toy, including young children who asked their mother, "What is that purple cucumber?" Mother of three Miss Radley had denied causing harassment and distress to Mrs. Nudd, 50, by leaving the objects in her car on May 22, 2018. She was found guilty by Norwich magistrates in February last year and fined £180 and ordered to pay £250 in costs and a £30 victim surcharge. But Miss Radley had her conviction overturned at Norwich Crown Court on Wednesday after the Crown Prosecution Service decided it was not in the public interest to oppose her appeal. It means that she will now have her fine and costs refunded. Oliver Haswell, who represented Radley, said the decision had brought an end to some torment for her. Speaking after the decision, she said she had been hoping for justice for 5 years, and said she was now over the moon. Miss Radley added that the matter had caused her family and friends stress and anxiety. She was cleared at the original hearing of 2 other charges of harassing 2 women customers of the tea room who were offended by the sight of the ex-toy. Miss Radley opened her trendy artisan coffee shop called Radler's with a combined post office and shop in August 2014, claiming she invested £75,000 in it. Mrs. Nudd and her parish councillor husband Martin, 59, opened their traditional tea room 9 months later. The simmering rivalry between the 2 businesses quickly boiled, with both owners accusing the other of intimidating and abusive behavior. Mr. and Mrs. Nudd claimed that Radley waged a campaign of harassment against them by repeatedly taking photographs of their premises and staring in. Radley complained that her posters went missing, a sign was vandalized, and fake bad reviews about her business were posted online. The Nudds denied being responsible for any of the incidents she described. Radley, who has lived in Sal House for 22 years, finally closed down her business in September 2017, claiming the ill feeling was partly to blame. She was issued with a community protection notice in December 2017 by Broadland District Council over claims that she had caused anxiety to Mrs. Nudd. The order banned her from staring into the Primorosa Cafe from a vehicle, whether moving or stationary, entering the cafe, or taking photographs of it, or customers, without permission. She could have been fined up to £2,500 for breaking the conditions. Radley appealed against the order, and it was withdrawn by the council in January 2018. The council also paid her costs of £1,200. Mrs. Nudd gave evidence via video last February, saying the sight of the ex-toy made her feel awful. She told the court, "This has been going on for so long now. It is total harassment. All I have ever wanted was to be left alone. Primarosa customer Josephine Allen said, the car was about 2 or 3 feet away from the shop window. I noticed inside the car was a purple X toy on the back seat. There was also a card with swear words on it. On the front passenger seat was an opened copy of the Daily Star showing a topless woman. She said Mrs. Nudd was utterly distraught when she spoke to her about it. Ms. Allen said, she was sobbing and shaking. I was pretty shocked, because it's not the everyday thing you would see in a tiny rural village in the backseat of a car. Another customer, Amanda Geary, said she visited the cafe on May 23, 2018, with her 2 children, aged 8 and 9. Describing how her children looked into the car as they walked ahead, she said, they asked, what is that purple cucumber? She added, they focused on the back seats, which had a very large purple X toy and a card they were reading which had a rude word on it. The court heard how there had been considerable enmity between Radley and others in Sal House, including Mrs. Nudd and Mrs. Allen. Radley said she parked outside the tea room after receiving abuse from a handful of people who left her threatening phone calls. She told the court it had been a protest, but claimed she did not mean to cause any offense. Radley added, it was just that I had received so much online abuse. I didn't mean to cause any offense to anyone. She said she had left 2 notes on the car's dashboard, one reading "Ot" and another claiming she would only move her car once the Nudds and their friends stopped harassing her. Radley insisted that the X toy and the other items could not be seen unless someone looked inside the car. When asked about the X toy and explicit card, she said, the items had been in a bag. They were a joke present for a friend. Presiding Magistrate Val Cambata said during the hearing, the village of Sal House is not coming out of this very well. I think there is provocation on both sides. I think it has to stop, and we don't want to see any side back in court. He told Radley, you need to take this on board. What you did was not very sensible. The other side needs to take on board how things get out of hand very quickly. A Crown Prosecution Service spokesperson said, as in every case, both the evidential test and public interest test must be passed for a prosecution to continue. After careful consultation with both the police and the complainant, the decision was taken that the public interest test was no longer met in proceeding, and that we would not oppose the appeal in the Crown Court. Pictures. The best rated comments. All sounds a bit silly. As for people being offended, they should grow up, and children asking, if it's a purple cucumber we'll just say yes, and leave it at that. Problem solved. Can't understand the relevance of leaving a X toy in your car to harassment. How many people go round looking in cars, and how does this affect the owners of the cafe? Don't go looking into other people's cars and you won't see anything to cause distress. Was this the same cafe where the male was a Labour councillor? Parish councillor gets planing. Now there is a surprise. I wonder how they are coping with COVID-19. Sobbing and shaking because she saw a dildo, having looked in a car window to be able to see it. She sounds like a fun kind lady. It wasn't fair though. He had been a local councillor and the council backed him at every turn. They tried to force her out of business. These have always been at each other's throats. Remember reading about it years ago. She sounds like a bunny boiler. Sobbing and shaking really? Mrs. Nudd has been very sheltered. She knew full well what she was doing. This next part is something that I find absolutely scandalous. The Crown Prosecution Service decided against opposing her appeal because it wasn't in the public interest according to who? Did they survey the public? Never in a million years would they have dropped their case if it was a man and not a woman. Sick and tired of this supposed equality. Storm in a coffee cup. I wonder how so many people, especially children, managed to see the toy, unless they all made a point of looking through the car windows. Having family there, I have visited both establishments. Primorosa was far superior, hence Radler's gaff having to close. There was no competition. Did she use it to froth the coffee? The correct term is electronic boyfriend. When tea rooms go to war. Yes DM, but you didn't tell us how much the purple toy was worth. Or its picture. The worst rated comments. Dirty cow. Primorosa more my type of place. Could it be the village agreed with me, and your artisan I read rip-off, one just wasn't sweeted. Not saying it was rubbish, just more Notting Hill. Not harassment. Ridiculous decision. Of course it was harassment. Geez, sh's the original Glenn Close in the making. What the hell is wrong with people, just die already? What does the DM zoologist Tracy Cox have to say about this? Old news. Who will pay it back? Why no picture of the offending article? What are the CPS playing at? It was as good a public order offense as you're likely to see, and yet they choose to go against the court's decision. Unbelievable. Silly lady, competition will always have winners and losers. Both places were fighting for trade and she lost. No point acting like a scarlet baby. Was it not large enough, and that caused offense? I bet the customers were getting bad vibes. If people enjoyed going to her cafe, their custom would have kept it busy, and thus a penny assume. The most recent comments. Glad Ms. Radley won this. Should have been the other business, and the local councils in court. Nasty doesn't go far enough. Tourists won't realize the underhanded dealings that went on, and will patronize the second business, but some locals wouldn't spit on them if they were on fire. I bet her speciality is dildo balls. I bet she would be in tears if someone asked for a cucumber sandwich. Buzzing. This news is buzzing. No picture of said toy, not even a stock picture. What a letdown. Who even raises an eyebrow about female X toys these days? Quite irrelevant. Keep her away from rabbits and saucepans. Says she deliberately parked her car, which had the offensive items on display. Seems even post-circuit, the CPS is unwilling to defend decent ordinary folk by not even contesting her appeal against conviction. Normal for Norfolk.
That concludes the video. Please let me know what you think in the comment section below. Personally, I think it sounds like there is an awful lot more to this story, so it's difficult to know if she left it on display on purpose. But I definitely find it strange how many people looked in the back seat of her car so closely. Please like and subscribe.